Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Really excited for today's video. So it's Thursday, and Thursdays I try to do Thursday's Thirsty Thoughts, where I come up with a topic that is hopefully engaging and give my side of it, my take, my story, whatever. And then hopefully you're inspired to comment below and we get conversations going. Just as a reminder, a couple things. It's tough for me to get on live streams, and I love that like instant, communication back and forth. So this is just a way to still have that, just not quite as live as a live stream, obviously. But it is the coolest part of doing this is just meeting people and having cool conversations. And the other side, or the other thing to consider is if you have an idea, just let me know, and if I like it, I'll go with it, because it is tough to come up with these. So speaking of coming up with ideas, this idea I've had for a while. I have a decent amount of glassware, probably more than a lot of people, but less than a lot of craft beer people, if that makes sense. Probably somewhere in between, or at least I hope I'm in the middle of that. Just kind of like, what's the story behind the glass? And never filmed one, never actually got past the idea, like just having the idea. And a couple of times Kevin has mentioned this glass that he and I both have. I know it's funny, I have this glass, I got this at Fidens. Not that interesting of a story, sorry. But this glass, I've mentioned every time I drink a Prison City beer about my friend Rick, who passed away a few years ago. And we worked together, so I had seen him since. But the last fun thing we did was towards the end of summer, we had a guys' weekend up at Cayuga Lake, and we hit a couple breweries. And one of the ones that we did, or we actually did a couple other things besides that. But anyway, we went to Prison City together, and he bought this glass. And that was October, so 2 months later, he passed away. And I reached out and I asked his wife, hey, less fun thing Rick and I did, not just going to work like normal, but less fun thing that he and I did was went to Prison City. He bought a glass, would you mind if I had it? And she's like, yeah, it has no meaning to me. I would probably throw it away. So yes, I'd rather someone who it means something to have it. So I only use it if I drink Prison City beers. And it was interesting. So I'm using it. So that's my story. And then Kevin was like, yeah, they don't make it anymore, so it's in semi-retirement for me. Although I did see recently he used his glass and mentioned that he has it semi-retired with the white font, so he doesn't want to overuse it. So I've kind of already told that story on my story, about Rick before, so I didn't want that to be today's video's topic. But I also wanted to include Kevin because he kind of pushed me over the edge with him giving that story, where I'm like, what, sometimes there are stories behind the glassware that we have. So quick sip. So here's what I actually want to talk about today, is this giant Samuel Adams glass. What do they call it? Was it the Perfect Pint glass? Was that the name of it? And there was I remember a visual that showed all the different features this glass has. And this is a big one. So before I had ever seen it to buy, it might have been online. Maybe I just didn't even look at their website, but I certainly didn't see it in any stores or anything. But I really wanted one. I at that time, I probably only had, I don't know, 4 or 5 glasses. I know I had a Dogfish Head one. My friend Mike had given me a German Hefeweizen glass. I can't remember which brewery. Southern Tier 2.5 IPA, I think. Not many glasses is my point. And this was something different. It was a different shape. I had been to Europe one time, including Germany, before this glass came out, and they really put it in me, in my head, proper glass for the proper beer. Like those go together. And some places, especially at least places I traveled in Europe, take that very seriously. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Not just for Samuel Adams products, but other beers. This would be a cool glass to have. But again, this is a really big version of it. This isn't the normal version. So here's the story. So, and I mentioned going to Europe. The second time I went to Europe, I've actually been very fortunate, have been asked to chaperone a lot of international trips. Europe many times, China, Australia. So yeah, I've been able to travel a lot for barely anything. So it's really rad. So we were flying out of JFK, and they had this, I think they were calling them Samuel Adams pubs. And we were like, oh, cool, Samuel Adams. Let's grab a beer before we get on the flight over there. So we're there and they're telling us like, yeah, we're actually closing soon, like closing down, not closing for the night. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. So we ordered our food and a beer, and they brought the beer out in just regular pint glasses. I don't even think the pint glasses said Samuel Adams on them. And I said to the waitress, I'm like, oh man, I was hoping to try one of these new perfect pint glasses that the brewery came out with. I haven't seen them, for real in person, where I could use one or order a beer in one or buy one. And she's like, oh yeah, we only have 2 left at this point. The staff, we just keep taking them home because everyone, this place is closing. Who cares? So basically, she's admitting to stealing them. And she's like, your next beer, I'll make sure one of the glasses gets washed and I'll bring it out in that. I'm like, oh, awesome, you're the best, right? So she did that, true to her word. She brought a beer out in this glass, and then I put the old no hype charm on, and I was like, so you were saying before that you guys are closing down soon, and staff have been taking these glasses, so you probably don't really keep track of these glasses. She's like, if you leave and the glass isn't here, I won't care. I won't charge your credit card. Yeah, we're closing, no big deal. So I had this glass in JFK. Then we flew to the Netherlands, traveled around. We went to Delft and saw the porcelain. We went to Anne Frank's house. We went and saw. We went to a cheese farm. We saw windmills. Almost everything. Almost everything. I was I was chaperoning a trip. We did in Amsterdam and the Netherlands, and in a couple other places in the Netherlands. And then we went to Belgium, and talk about taking very serious their glassware. One of our hotels in Belgium. My friend ordered at the hotel bar in Orval, how to pronounce it, and they gave it to him in the wrong glass. This dude basically ran to the bar and started scolding them. Like, I don't care, this guy's an American. You give him that beer in the right glass. And come to find out, that guy, his hometown is where the brewery is. So not only was it of his culture, but he also had that hometown pride of how dare you give him this beer in the wrong glass. So this beer is in my luggage through the Netherlands, through Belgium, and then we went to France. And then I had to come back early for that trip. That's a whole other story. And so I was only in Paris, France wasn't even 24 hours, and I had to come back early. So I was just trying to maximize everything that I could in the little bit of time that I was there. And I've been to France several times since then, so I've been able to see everything I wanted to. Again, whole other story. And made it all the way back to the United States completely unbroke. So I live in New York. I got it at JFK. Wasn't like JFK right to my house in upstate New York. It was over to Europe, 3 different countries, and back. Glass was intact. And then not that long later, they were selling 2-packs of the normal version. So I bought a 2-pack, gave my dad one of the glasses, and kept one of the glasses. And so now I have the big one and the little one. And so that's my story about this glass and how I got it. If people like this, I have other stories behind other glasses, and I'll throw these, sprinkle it into these Thursday's Thirsty Thoughts videos. And again, I would love to hear if you have any cool stories behind any glassware you have. I would love to hear that. So comment section below. Let's get those conversations going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check them out Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.